Welcome back to Sajine Clarity, the place where we wake up, heal deeply, reclaim our identity, and learn how to live authentically after surviving manipulation, burnout, betrayal, toxic systems, and emotional exhaustion. I'm your host, Sajine, and today we're having a conversation that I think so many people desperately need right now. Because somewhere along the way, many of us became experts at surviving, but forgot how to truly live. We spent years trying to hold everything together, trying to prove our pain, trying to earn love, trying to get justice, trying to survive systems that drained our spirit. And while justice matters and accountability matters, there comes a moment where we have to ask ourselves, how much of our life are we willing to sacrifice, waiting for people to finally understand what they did to us? A quick disclaimer before we dive in. This podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a licensed therapist, counselor, or medical professional, and the content shared here is based on personal experiences and insights. If you're facing significant challenges, please seek the support of a qualified professional. Remember, your journey is unique, and you deserve the care and guidance that is right for you. On today's episode, it's time to reclaim your life. Stop surviving and start thriving. We're going to talk about why survival mode disconnects us from purpose, how waiting for justice can emotionally trap us, reclaiming our identity after burnout and betrayal, learning what actually brings us peace, and practical ways to begin thriving again, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. If you've been feeling lost, exhausted, stuck, disconnected from yourself, or unsure of your purpose, this episode is for you. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's begin reclaiming your life together. Oh boy, this has been one of those weeks where I have been doing a lot of my thinking, studying, and I came up with something that I was like, what am I doing? I am not happy as far as some of the things that go on in my mind. Why? Because we're always trying to get better, but then something happens and you go, oh, this is an aha moment. Survival mode. It's not living. For years, many of us were taught that being good meant sacrificing ourselves endlessly. We became that dependable one, the helper, the fixer, the peacemaker, the worker who overperformed, the woman who gave chance after chance. I got tired of giving chance after chance. You know how many times you do it? Whether it is in your marriage, past marriage, school, church, family, and even yourself. And I'm not having that anymore. It's just too much. And slowly, survival mode became our identity. You know, it's interesting. Once you start seeing that your life was just full of survival mode, it's horrible. I don't think it's fun to live like that. It's just too much that you lose in yourself and you start thinking, what's going on? So let me tell you what survival mode looks like. Constant anxiety, overthinking, fear of rest, feeling guilty for joy, living paycheck to paycheck emotionally and financially, never asking yourself what you want, being emotionally available to everyone except yourself. The dangerous thing about survival mode is that it becomes familiar. You don't even realize you're drowning because chaos became your normal. And this is why reclaiming your life feels uncomfortable at first. See, the thing is, I see it, constant anxiety. Does that not like suck up the most time of your life? Then if you're on medications or with therapists, I'm not here to blame you. I'm just trying to get you to find that clarity, that aha moment, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm in survival mode and I want more. Overthinking. I overthink things to the point where I think I'm overthinking even overthinking. Fear of rest. How many times have we been told not to rest? When you were in that toxic marriage, and heaven forbid you would be relaxing. You've been up since 5 a.m. and you've been working nonstop all day. And the moment you rest, that person would say, why are you resting? It happens at work. Heaven forbid you take a break or your lunch, because now they're like, why are you resting? I remember one time at work, I was just there, just zoning out for a bit because my eyes hurt really bad. Oh, I got told, my eyes weren't on the computer. And I was like, my eyes hurt. And they're like, oh, well, keep going. And it really upset me. But then I was at work where I kept working. And then when I was exhausted, they asked me why I didn't take a break. And I said, because I decided to work for you. And then they told me, oh, well, that's your fault. So you know what? Don't listen to them. Listen to yourself. You feel guilty for joy. And I don't know why, but it's because if you come in from a toxic environment, did you not get reprimanded or in trouble for having joy? They always find a way to wipe that joy off of your face. I'm not having that. I'm going to have joy. I'm still afraid because I always think if I have joy, something's going to come and wipe that off my face. And I'm going to have to pick myself up until I can find joy again. Living paycheck to paycheck, emotionally and financially. I get it. Right now, the economy is so bad. People keep telling you this old saying, oh, well, I'm just happy to have a job. Or you should be thankful or blessed that you have a job. I'm not saying that we're not. The problem is that paycheck isn't spreading like it used to. And now, no matter how hard you put more hours in it, more taxes get taken out, less money it comes along, and then they keep raising it. I keep going to the grocery store, and I'm not going to lie to you. Each week I go, they incremented a few more cents. And now it's at the point where they do increments by dollars. It's not just $1. I see $2 or $3 now each time I go. And I'm thinking, how are we going to make it? Never asking yourself what you want. How many times do we give, and we never ask what we want? We don't have time. We don't even remember. This is Mother's Day's weekend, and it's the first time I realized that I've never asked myself what I wanted for being a mother. I've been a mother for more than a decade, and I've never celebrated myself. And so this time, I said, no, I'm going to celebrate it, even if it was just small. I loved it that I went out there and I took a nice long walk in nature. I decided to get me a little snack from a little French patisserie, a little bakery. And I went and visited my mom and I gave her Mother's Day gift. And then I came home and I felt at peace. The thing is, and then sometimes I forget that I'm emotionally available to everybody. I'm always trying to solve everybody's emotions, and I forget about myself. And sometimes we do the emotions, but it's always what? The anxiety and overthinking and the guilt. Horrible things. So let's keep going. And this is why reclaiming your life feels uncomfortable at first. Because thriving requires boundaries, rest, curiosity, self-discovery, letting go of constant urgency. Many people never discover who they truly are because they were too busy surviving systems that drained them. Let me tell you one thing. The day that I decided to put boundaries in place, a lot of people got very angry with me. Even to this day. I put boundaries and now they're telling me that I'm not a team player, or that I've changed, or that I'm not a good enough person. You name it. And if I rest, oh no, my productivity's gone down. Now I'm not a good person. Curiosity. Oh, you should never be curious. You should just do what you're told. Or they tell you that you have become something that you're not. And you're thinking, wait a minute, what's going on? You love reading books. I love reading books. I love studying. For goodness sakes, there was one day I decided I wanted to know what calculus was. And I went to YouTube and I found this kid who explained it so well that I understood it. And I thought, how dare the schools never taught things like this. I even spoke to somebody that I know and I told them what I learned. And he's a very smart individual. And he said, schools don't teach. They don't even know what they're teaching. And it was the first person who acknowledged it with me. Go out there, go do whatever hobby, learn a new skill, learn everything that people told you didn't know. And you actually do. I really believe humans are very intelligent. The problem is we've been pushed down. Why? Because we've been told we don't have boundaries, right? Self-discovery. Go out there, figure out how things work. It's amazing. And letting go of the constant urgency. How many times at work have you been told, this is urgent? This is urgent. And if you don't don't respond to a message or a response or fix it within a few seconds, now you're being told you're difficult. Come on. But if you tell them that something is urgent, now those people do have boundaries, but you're not allowed to have them. Many people never discover who they truly are because they were too busy surviving systems that drained them. I don't like having things drained on me. So, waiting for justice can steal your entire life. This is a difficult truth. Sometimes justice is delayed. Sometimes it never comes in the form we wanted. And spiritually, emotionally, mentally, that can feel devastating. I am here to tell you that I'm upset because I've been living for maybe a decade wanting justice. I've had people hear me, see everything. I told everybody who needed to know it, and they looked at me like some stupid, bitter ex-wife or person or ex-coworker, whatever, you name it. Of course, those were all the people who were manipulating you, who now are upset, right? I'm a Christian, and there's things that I understand. There were people in scripture who lived incredibly long lives despite causing harm, corruption, or destruction. Imagine waiting hundreds of years for visible justice. That would destroy a person mentally if that became their entire focus. There's been people who lived in the Bible for over 900 years, or up to 900, right? And if you're a Christian, go look it up. If you're not, you can go look it up. Why not? That's the part of the curiosity part, right? We'll look at Greek mythology or any other mythology, people's origins and stuff like that. See how long they lived. The thing is, in the Bible, there was one king and he caused so much pain for people. And that's the moment that woke me up and I said, can you imagine if I lived 800 years demanding justice? Like, that is not, I got upset. There's no justice in that. Why? Because you just lost out in 800 years of beauty. I'm not saying that they can get away with it, that forget about, no. Write it down, put it in your journal, and every day take another step to living better. But I saw it in myself and I thought, how dare those abusers were still renting space in my head. And I think many people today are spiritually exhausted because they unknowingly made waiting for justice their full-time emotional occupation. That doesn't mean accountability doesn't matter. It means we cannot build our identity around someone else finally admitting what they did. We cannot postpone joy until everybody understands our pain. That was a good one for me. I wanted everybody to understand my pain. Nope, they don't care. And I'm not saying I don't. I do. And there's many other people who have gone through this who care. You're important. Christian, Jesus and God cares. If you're not, I'm still going to say Jesus and God cares. But to me, no. We cannot delay our purpose waiting for the universe to balance itself. Isn't part of the universe a little bit of everything, right? There's a bit of chaos, unison, I guess you would say. There's a rhythm in everything. And one day, everything will be revealed. Sometimes reclaiming your life is the justice. Because the people who benefited from your suffering expected you to stay broken. Thriving disrupts that expectation. It's time to start thriving and living because no, we are not going to give them any more of us. How trauma disconnects us from purpose. One of the biggest losses after emotional abuse, burnout, betrayal, toxic workplaces, manipulation, or chronic stress is loss of identity. Or some of us didn't even remember who we were because it became something that we acquired when we were so young. You stop asking, what do I love? And start asking, what will keep me safe? That changes a person. Purpose gets buried under exhaustion, fear, financial stress, constant criticism, over-responsibility, conditioning. Many people were never allowed to explore who they were, right? Never. And now that every day I take a little bit of more to see who I am. Oh, it's amazing. Especially women who were taught, serve first, shrink yourself, be agreeable, don't disappoint anyone, carry everyone emotionally. But purpose is discovered through exploration. And I love what I've said. I try something new every day to see what I like and don't like. That is healing. And every day I choose, what am I going to do? And if I went the wrong way, I will go a different way. Now, I got me this cute little Tamagotchi, little keychain toy. And it's not the digital one. It's just one of their cute toys. My problem is it's one of those secret ones. So what happened? I looked at all of them and I thought, I don't want a certain character. Do you know when I opened it, it was that character? It was the creepiest thing in the world. How my mind did that. But guess what? I get to say, do I want to do that again? No, I said in my head. I knew full well it was a surprise and I didn't know what I was getting. But it's okay because at least I made a choice. And I learned from it and I moved forward. Purpose is not always found in one lightning bolt moment. Sometimes purpose is rediscovered through curiosity, trying, failing, experimenting, being honest, letting yourself evolve. You're allowed to say, I don't want this lifestyle anymore. Hands up here. I thought about it. I don't want the rat race. Hands up. Here I am. I don't want to perform exhaustion forever. I want peace. I want meaning. I want freedom. That honesty is the beginning of awakening. You should see it. I've said all of this in my head, and I said, what was I thinking before? But I never had any time to analyze any of this because I was always busy being everybody's servant. So there's signs you're ready to reclaim your life. You're ready to reclaim your life when, 1, you stop romanticizing struggle. You realize suffering is not proof of worth. 2, you become honest about what drains you. You stop forcing yourself into environments that kill your spirit. 3, you stop over-explaining yourself. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. 4, you begin asking bigger questions. Why am I here? What actually fulfills me? What kind of life feels aligned? You realize peace is productive. Rest is not laziness. Healing is not a weakness. Practical ways to start thriving again. Reclaim your identity. Ask yourself, what did I love before survival mode? What excites me naturally? What conversations energize me? Explore without pressure. Try new things without demanding perfection. New hobbies, new routines, new content ideas, new business ideas, new friendships, new creative outlets. Stop living entirely in emergency mode. Your nervous system cannot hear purpose while constantly panicking. Create small joys again. Thriving begins with tiny moments. Morning sunlight, music, walking, gardening, journaling, creating content, helping others. Help people from their pain. Your experience can become wisdom. That's what your platform is becoming. Or your life. Or your friendships. A place where people feel seen, validated, awakened, and empowered. It is time to see yourself that way. You need to see yourself, validate it, and you will become empowered. It's really important for you to keep moving forward. I don't want you getting stuck. I want you to keep moving forward. Here's some journal prompts I want you to write down. 1, what part of my life feels like survival instead of living? 2, if fear disappeared for 1 year, what would I truly want to explore? 3, what dreams or interests did I abandon while trying to survive? 4, what kind of environment helps me feel most alive and peaceful? And then the last one, what would thriving actually look like for me personally? Thank you so much for spending time with me today here on Sajin Clarity. I hope this episode reminded you that your life is still valuable even after heartbreak, disappointment, betrayal, burnout, or years spent in survival mode. You're allowed to rediscover yourself. You're allowed to outgrow environments that harmed you. You're allowed to change direction. You're allowed to seek peace. And you're absolutely allowed to thrive. Remember, healing is not always loud. Sometimes healing looks like resting, trying again, setting boundaries, exploring new possibilities, or simply admitting this life no longer aligns with who I truly am. And if nobody has told you lately, your purpose still exists. It did not disappear. It's simply waiting underneath all the survival patterns you had to develop to make it through difficult seasons. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who may need encouragement right now. And make sure you follow Sajin Clarity on Instagram and YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, so we can continue healing, growing, and reclaiming our lives together. Until next time, protect your peace, trust your discernment, and never forget, you were born for more than survival.